The dodgy British accent is optional. Welcome to WatchMojo UK, and today we're counting down our picks for the top 10 British slang terms you should be using. Before we begin, we publish new content every day, so be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos. For this list, we're rattling through British slang expressions that are just so bloody brilliant, they really should be adopted by the rest of the world. Number 10, Codswallop. Sometimes outright calling someone a liar feels just a little too much.
Codswallop, in my opinion.
The unassuming Codswallop softens the blow, but still leaves the listener in no doubt that you doubt very much that what they're saying is true.
Codswallop!
Etymologically, it's tricky to trace, but one idea pitches the term as a combination of two other words, cod, which can mean joke, and wallop, which is slang for beer. So, codswallop is akin to an OTT tale told when you're drunk. Not very believable. Unless, of course, that explanation is codswallop, in which case, we're back to square one.
And it's codswallop to boot.
Number 9, Bog-Standard.
I'm sure Dobby's boyfriend could have strolled into an Argos and got a Bog-Standard bracelet from a spotty Saturday girl, but maybe he wanted to get something a little bit special.
Too often in our day-to-day lives do we encounter things that are boring, unremarkable, ordinary, or just plain basic. Enter Bog-Standard, a versatile phrase that also has links to the British slang term bog, meaning toilet. Bog-Standard can be used to describe pretty much anything that lacks any sort of pomp or splendor. If the chair you're sitting on is basically just wood with 4 legs, it's a Bog-Standard chair. If the coffee you're drinking is ground beans, milk, and maybe sugar, it's a Bog-Standard coffee. It's predictable, unexceptional, but also familiar and reliable.
Right, we get the tube into Camden and head for the nearest Bog-Standard indie-oriented bar.
Number 8, Pop Your Clogs.
Pop your clogs on and go paid whipping!
This is Britain at its euphemistic best. To pop your clogs is to die. But why directly refer to death when you can indirectly refer to some obscure footwear instead? It's another phrase with a questionable origin, with some explanations tracing it back to the Industrial Revolution, when factory workers still wore clogs to protect their feet. Were those workers to die in those clogs, their toes would point or pop upwards. There's definitely a time and a place for this one though. Conversations about the death of your favorite TV character? Yes. Actual, real-world funerals? Probably not.
Choo-choo, sir. One last fling before you pop your clogs.
Number 7, all mouth and no trousers.
I've dealt with this kind of scum in the past, and I can tell you they're all mouth and no trousers.
If you're ever labelled as this, then, unfortunately, it has zero to do with the lipstick you're wearing or your choice of legwear. Instead, it's a plain and simple put-down. All mouth and no trousers can also be shortened to all mouth, and is essentially the same as all talk, referring to anyone who's trying to brag or possibly intimidate, but isn't likely to follow up their words with actions. They're showing off, but without substance. Conveniently enough, the person being painted as all mouth and no trousers is probably talking Bog-Standard Codswallop.
Just as I thought. All mouth and no trousers.
Number 6, well chuffed.
I played 5 eggs this morning. 5! Hell chuffed with that I was.
Perhaps you've just got 100% on a maths exam. Maybe you're a budding footballer and you scored a hat-trick. Or maybe you've baked a cake that looks and tastes divine. In every case, you could say you're well chuffed. It's a go-to term for whenever anything's gone well.
You're chuffed up now. And so you should be, my splendid boy.
But instead of sounding like a silver spoon nitwit and pronouncing to the world that you're really rather pleased with that outcome, you give the universal sign of a hearty fist pump, puff out your chest with pride, and tell everyone you're well chuffed.
So I'm happy about that.
Yes.
Chuffed.
Number 5, on it like a car bonnet. If only everything we ever said sounded as satisfying as this. Used to confirm, convince, or generally reassure your listener that the matter in hand is being dealt with and that you have everything under control, on it like a car bonnet is lesser said than everything else on this list, but don't let that stop you from adding it to your personal lexicon. Naturally though, announcing it in America could lead to some confusion, and On It Like a Car Hood just doesn't have the same ring to it, unfortunately.
Be in your bonnet, Potter.
Number 4, Cream Crackered.
And I am cream crackered.
There was no way we'd get through this list without at least a little rhyming slang. In this case, if you're cream crackered, you're knackered. And if you're knackered, you're tired. Like really bloody tired. Like for example, sorry Bob, I can't come into work today, I'm absolutely cream crackered. Be sure to use it correctly though. You might be cream crackered after going to the gym, but you definitely can't describe 30 minutes on the treadmill as a cream crackering task. It's just weird.
Cold call, look at me. I'm tired. Lightweight. Well and truly cream crackered.
Number 3, throwing a wobbly.
I was looking for you. Haley's throwing a wobbly.
Oh shit.
What better way to embarrass a fully grown adult about the tantrum they're having than to hit them with this phrase? While throwing a wobbly can also be used to describe children crying because they haven't gotten their way, it's best dished out to a well-deserving adult who's in a monumental sulk over something that doesn't really matter.
Get a hold of yourself, Ebenezer. You're having a wobbly.
Sarah's team lost at the weekend, so she threw a wobbly. Frank doesn't like football, but was forced to watch it anyway, so he threw a wobbly. Tom didn't want jelly for dessert, so he tossed the plate at the nearest wall. You get the picture. Number 2, Bob's your uncle.
The guard falls in, Bob's your uncle, we escape. What do you think?
Who is this Bob, and how are we related? Used to describe the satisfying completion of a particular task, the expression is thought to date back to the 1880s, when it was attributed to the then newly appointed Chief Secretary of Ireland, Arthur Balfour. Balfour's uncle was Robert Bob Cecil, the British Prime Minister at the time, so it was widely thought that he only got the promotion because of the familial link.
Bob's your uncle. Okay.
Since then, the meaning has evolved to cover all types of everyday success, and a funny's your aunt follow-up has also crept up into use.
And ignore that. This will go in here, and Bob's your uncle, abracadabra, is this your card?
Number 1, that takes the biscuit.
Feeling a lot better.
Well, that really takes the biscuit, doesn't it?
Say there's someone at work who's always pulling pranks, and one day they just go too far. That takes the biscuit. Say you're having a bad day, and then you drop your phone in the sink. That takes the biscuit too.
Them two just about take a biscuit.
Used whenever an in some way bad situation gets even worse, the biscuit bit should be in no way ever Americanized to cookie. Unless you're aiming for Codswallop again, or you're taking the piss, which is not to be confused with our biscuit-based winner. And as for the biscuit to which this phrase refers, nobody knows. We're betting hobnobs though.
Now piss off. Oh, this really takes the biscuit.
Do you agree with our picks? Check out these other great clips from WatchMojo, and be sure to subscribe and ring the bell to be notified about our latest videos.